Hello, everyone. Welcome to Helps YouTube Live today, June 19th, 2025. I thought we might not have it today, but looks like we're open, so I'm going to do YouTube Live. Good to have you here. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat feature. I'll try to address them, but I want to welcome you today. My name's Eric. I'm attorney for 46 years, the founder of Helps. Helps is a national law firm that represents seniors and disabled persons who owe debt they can't afford to pay. And we do that under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which provides that if you're represented by an attorney, debt collectors can no longer call or send you demand letters anymore. And our most important information to seniors is that your Social Security, your pension, your disability, your VA benefits, virtually all forms of retirement income are protected by federal and state laws, can't be taken from you, is available for your needs. Okay, I want you to remember that. And if you have a question, you can always call us on the phone, toll free 855-435-7787. Always like you to press the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel. So I'm going to start out today by showing you something that we got in the mail. Though one of our attorneys that sent it to me, and I knew about this, and it looks like it's finally come to reality here. There it is. Okay. This is a note from someone that sent to us. It says your current monthly Social Security supplemental security income SI payment is $967. You will continue to get this month each month unless there is a change. Because we are withholding $967 from your check each month to recover an overpayment, you will not receive a check beginning July 2025. We'll let you know as soon as the payment can be made. You were due back money of $1,081. We paid your lawyer $1,081. Someone else, not me, anything like that. We have a zero left to pay you. There's more information about your payment. So, what does this mean? I'll explain as soon as I get out of this. Okay. Here's something else. This won't apply to many seniors, but for the ones that will apply to, this can be devastating. I want to talk about this for a second because it's important because we're all in this together. Okay, this is what artificial intelligence tells us. Effective March 27, 2025, the Social Security Administration is reinstating the policy of withholding 100% of monthly Social Security benefits to recover overpayments. This reverses the previous policy change that lowered the withholding rate to 10%. The Social Security will begin mailing notices about this change on March 7th, 2025. So what does this mean? I'll tell you what it means. It used to be a few years ago, if you had an overpayment for Social Security, they could take out 25%, and then under the Biden administration, they lowered it down to 10%, which I think was a good idea. Because a lot of seniors, this is what they rely on is their Social Security. They had no way of differentiating between seniors that had a lot of Social Security and a plus of a lot of other money, and the seniors that were just Social Security was their only income. And then so they lowered it to 10% if they had an overpayment. Now I've seen overpayments happen. It's not because someone's been dishonest. It's just a mistake gets made. Maybe someone didn't understand something, or maybe even the Social Security Administration made a mistake and gave you money when they shouldn't have. But it doesn't matter. It's still technically an overpayment. And so what happened when the new administration came in, they changed the rules, anxious to, balance the budget or whatever. And now they have offset of 100% of your Social Security for an overpayment. Now, the only way to stop that is by filing a bankruptcy. And notice that this person, the one I just showed you, and I'll show it to you again. Here it is. Second, I'm going to talk about this person. So this person called us, talked to us, and one of our attorneys talked to her. And the attorney that talked to her has forwarded this to me this morning and said, look at this, Eric. This is devastating for this person. This is their only income, and she's not going to get any of it for a couple months until those, how are people going to live? How are they going to eat? How are they going to pay for rent? How are they going to pay for food? When you take 100% of an overpayment away from someone that's poor, that is just totally devastating. It just really hurts. So this was a new proceeding that started on March 27th of this year, a couple months ago. I just talked to another guy this morning. I started asking him some questions, and he was telling me they're taking 10% of my Social Security for an overpayment. And I warned him. I said, you may have this problem coming up. And he said, oh, I don't think so, Eric. And I said, be careful. I think it may be coming up. Now, for this person here, our only income was $967. She couldn't afford to file bankruptcy. I mean, you could bankrupt on the overpayment, but she didn't have enough money to file bankruptcy. I mean, it costs $335 for the filing fee alone, and then an attorney's going to cost $1,500 to $2,000 or more. It's kind of hard to do your own bankruptcy, so this is going to be difficult for people that this happens. So, what do I suggest you can do? Well, it may not apply to you. Okay, but what you can do is, I'll show you this. Okay. You can, if you get on the internet and you type in find your representative, okay? This is the United States House of Representatives. This is their website. You can also do find your senator, same thing. And then you just type in your zip code, and it's going to tell you who your representative is. I'll just see what this is. Okay, that's my representative where I used to live. I'm not there right now, but that's in Oregon. And but wherever you could just do find your representative. Now what you can do then is you can just click on this. There's some place down here somewhere where you can contact them, or you can write them a letter, which even you click on that, her name goes back to the website, and then you could fill that all out and contact them, whoever your representative is. Now, when you do that, what you can do then is you can write them and say, on March 27th, the Social Security overpayment, I've got, I know seniors whose only income is around $1,000 to $1,200 Social Security that had overpayments, no fault of their own, and now, before they were taking out 10%, now the administration is taking out 100% of their Social Security. Please, this ought to stop. It's not right. It's not fair. I can guarantee you, if enough seniors complained about this to their representatives, no matter what party they are, it's the rule's going to change, because it really is. This is draconian measure. Now, remember, on May 5th, I think it was, the administration announced that they were going to start offset 15% of Social Security. Well, about 3 weeks later, just a few weeks ago, Department of Education announced that no, we're not going to start offsetting Social Security. Why? Probably because they were getting. We made a couple of videos about it with senior living. We did one, and then I think they probably got a lot of pushback from different senators and representatives. People in their districts were contacting them, or states, and saying this isn't right, and so it's too difficult to apply for currently not collect for an income-based repayment plan. So they put it on hold, and they need to do the same thing with here, or they need to lower the amount that they're going to take. back to 10% would be more fair if an overpayment. But taking it all 100% is just, what are you going to do? I mean, you got these seniors, if that's their only income, they can't pay the rent. They're going to put them out on the street. I mean, this is idiocy to take 100% of someone's Social Security for an overpayment. Now, fine if the person had a lot of income, and some of them do, but half our seniors that's their main source of income is Social Security. So consider doing that. Find my representative, write your representative, okay? I need to put a stop to these. I'm getting some people trying to call me and I don't want to talk to them. There we go. Done deal. So welcome to our channel. Hope if you got any questions, put them in the chat feature. I noticed at the beginning, Marion asked me a tax question. Now, listen, we normally don't we just give general information. We don't get into details. If you want to find out if you're going to owe taxes, just get on the IRS website and type, and you go and say, well, am I going to owe taxes? And they're going to point you to, you can fill out some really basic information. They're going to let you know if you're going to have to pay taxes or not. Okay? On that amount of income. Whatever it is, it wouldn't be a whole lot. Okay? Ms. H asks a good question. In the case of the lady that what she is going through, isn't there a lawyer or law group out there that will help her and others on a free basis to file bankruptcy and then pay them back later? Hard to find, maybe. There is a company, I forget their name. I talked about them a couple days ago that does free bankruptcy. She could contact them, and we probably are going to tell her to contact them, but that's not going to do any good because she's not going to get her check in July, and she may not even get it in August. It'll be a problem. But no, there's not a lot of people out there that do free bankruptcies for people. No. And then it's not that easy to do, even at that. It's just not a matter of them doing something for you. It's just a matter of you complaining to them. So, what they do is they get these emails or mails, letters are great, and they have staff that comment and they add these letters up. And if there's a bunch on a whole bunch of issue on a certain issue, then they're more likely to do something about it. They want to get reelected. Upsolve is the name of the company. You can look under Upsolve for free bankruptcy. But it's not that easy with Upsolve. I talked about them, I think, last week and went over an article that they did. And I was a little disappointed in the article because they never mentioned to seniors the fact that their income was protected and they didn't need to file bankruptcy. Anyway, so this person contacts us from Illinois, and they say, I would like to follow up and start the program process for debt collection. Collector communication. I briefly discussed, and I'm ready to join. I retired from local government employment, and I'm currently living in the state of. My only income is a monthly pension check. Apparently, they tried calling us and they got disconnected. Could someone please try to reach me again? I am looking forward to working with your company for assistance. Sure, we're going to call them back and we're going to talk to them and be able to help them. If you're a senior or disabled on Social Security, pension, VA benefits, other form of retirement, you have debt you can't afford to pay, and you got creditors that are bothering you that you can't pay, and you're worried about it, you can contact helps. We're going to ask you some basic questions about, where you live, are you married, your age, what your source of income is, buying a home, you're renting, buying a car, has anyone filed a lawsuit against you? Some basic questions, and we're going to read you what we do. And what we do is we represent you so the creditors have to leave you alone. And if you have a lawsuit against you, we're going to ask you to send us the first 3 or 4 pages of the lawsuit. And when you enroll in helps, we're going to send what's called a letter to the attorney that sued you and letting him know that your income is protected. You're not going to go to court. We're going to call you and explain to you why you don't need to go to court, why you don't need to worry, why your assets are protected. So that's what we do is we represent seniors and disabled persons to stop collector harassment and educate them why they're going to be okay and answer their questions. That's why we have these YouTube live sessions to do that. Okay, since it says if one files by themselves to Chapter 7, there is a form to get the fee waived. That is true in certain cases. You can do that. It isn't impossible to file by oneself. That's true. It isn't impossible. The workers there are quite helpful. I filed a Chapter 7 by myself for what he said, $65. You're the exception, not the rule. A lot of people would have really difficulty doing this, and they don't need to do it. And the part of the problem is, if you file Chapter 7, and sometimes it's like Brer Rabbit, you can get to a briar patch. Maybe you've got an asset that's worth too much money and you file Chapter 7. Well, once you file, you just can't get out of a Chapter 7. You're locked in. Maybe you got a car that's above the equity that you're allowed for that state. And the trustee could take the car, sell it, pay you your exemption, and then use the rest of the money to pay your creditors, but you're out of a car. Same thing with a home. So there's some dangers for filing bankruptcy by yourself. I don't encourage anyone to do it. And then they've also and they made it more difficult because they have what's called a means test that went into effect in 2004, I believe, or 2005. I remember that. Anyway, call us with questions. Okay, so this person contacts us from Oregon, and they say, please help me. I am an almost 78-year-old. I am drowning in debt. I have $30,000 in credit card debt. I've never missed a payment. I've always paid on time. But this month, there's just not enough money. I have a small online business that was doing well, but suddenly in the last couple of months, it has nearly disappeared. I relied heavily on that extra income. Without it, my boat is sinking. I do receive Social Security, $1,500 a month, and a small pension, $600. But it's not enough to cover the credit card. Today, there is a $400 payment due on a credit card with the largest balance, and I can't pay it. My whole life, I've always managed to pay my bills and would never have thought I'd find myself in such a situation, and it's freaking me out. You don't need to freak out. You're 78 years old. Your only income is Social Security and a little pension, which is protected by federal law. Social Security has been protected since it started in 1935. Twice the amount of your Social Security that you deposit in your bank account is automatically protected by your bank from garnishment in case someone were to sue you and get a judgment and tried to garnish your bank account. So if they got uh, uh, $1,500 in Social Security, $3,000 in their bank account is protected automatically. And no one can garnish the pension. It's protected under a federal law called ERISA that was passed in 1974, Employment Retirement Income Security Act. Or if it's not protected under that federal law, there's a state law that protects your pension. So you can choose to stop paying your debt. And if you don't want to be harassed by creditors, your contact helps. We don't turn anyone away that needs our help. Okay. The cost is minimal for helps. Maybe 1 out of 7 get our help for free. Those that pay a very minimal amount. So we don't want you to worry. And I don't want you to feel guilty. I mean, this person, they've been paying all their life. They're almost 80 years old, and but they just can't do it anymore. Just can't do it. Lawmakers protected your income for a reason. They understand that you're on limited income. You don't have a way to replace it. Like this person, they had an online business. It's dried up. Um, so you don't need to pay the debt, okay? And you can be protected from collectors, from collector harassment, and your income's protected. Even if you got sued, they can't take it from you. Okay. So this person writes in. This is on one of our web pages, or one of our on a video that we did, or it could have been from Senior Living. Can a pension be garnished for credit card debt? And then my answer is what I just said. I said, this is what I wrote down. Most pensions are protected from debt collectors under a federal law uh, passed in 1974. And if the pension isn't protected under this federal law, there is certainly a state law that protects the pension. Eric helps. Okay. So here's one of the attorneys last week. Maybe it was Monday. Here it helps wrote me and they said, Eric, have you heard of this law firm called Morning Law Group? It was kind of an interesting name. So I Googled it. Whenever I want to find out about if a company is legit or something, I type in their name and I either put scam or ripoff. And then the truth starts coming out really quick if they're a scam or ripoff. So this is what someone wrote about Morning Law Group. They're in California. And I'll just read what they wrote. And the person who asked the question, this person is answering their question. And they say, that is me in the article. Morning Law Group is not legit. They'll say anything to get any money from you. I am every day looking to end this practice in the state of Illinois and the entire U.S. if possible. They're in the lines of the law as they say, but in the end, you will get sued by every company you owe money to, and you will pay every penny. Please listen to me. Nothing will be reduced or eliminated. Nothing at all, and that's a guarantee. In the end, you will be much worse shape than you started. In the end, your only resolution is bankruptcy. So this for younger persons. While you do this, Morning Law Group will stand to the side with all your money, nearly $5,000 for me that he paid him. And the person, the attorney from Helps that wrote me said this person that she had talked to that was inquiring about Helps was paying $1,300 a month to this Morning Law Group. And continue to tell how great they are. They are trash, and every individual close to them are trash. I got here by going through Debt Advisor America, who are also trash. And I guess what we found out is Morning Law Group is a successor to another law firm called Litigation Practice Group that ended up getting sued by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and they went bankrupt. And what happened is this Morning Law Group came together and they bought the clients from Litigation Practice Group because they had tens of thousands of clients. And what their concept of doing business is they dispute debts. That's how they do it. And they charge a fee for doing that. And the client that called us about Morning Law Group was a senior who was getting Social Security, and they were never told that their income was protected. No one could touch it. So you can check out this firm if you want. But I know all about litigation practice group, and I was glad the day when they got shut down because they were, we had a lot of people that were calling us that were wrapped up with litigation practice group, and they were being taken advantage of. And it's interesting all their names here. Okay, here's the next one. I'm with Guardian Litigation for the past 3 months, and I'm paying them a fee of $605 for the last 3 months for credit cards. They have not really come up with an agreement with them. What can I do? Please let me know. How can I get done? Okay, and so this was a inquiry in one of our YouTube videos or something. It said there are a lot of debt settlement companies or debt management companies, including nonprofits. If you are a senior receiving Social Security and or a pension, and we're told that your income was safe and protected, and you didn't need to pay the debt, you were being scammed by that company. With few exceptions, these companies, these debt management, debt settlement companies, don't tell seniors about their protected income. Instead, they sign them up, often putting seniors in utter poverty, making payments to a debt they don't have to pay. If they were to tell your income was protected, you wouldn't enroll with them. I mean, you've heard me talk about this over and over again. And the reason I talk about it over and over again is I keep getting emails from people like this that are signing up with these companies. They make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. They front load their fees. And so because of that, they can advertise a lot on the internet. And so if you're trying to get out of debt, I don't care if they want to help a younger person. Even then, I don't think they're legit. A lot of them aren't. But if you're a senior and they don't tell you that your income is protected, my opinion, that's just fraud. It's, it's just wrong. Jimmy says we need to help eliminate high electric rates for seniors. Larry says, what happens when the pensions are direct deposited into a bank account along with Social Security? Some attorneys will say then it's fair game for the garnishment because of case law. Well, the attorney doesn't know what he's talking about, Larry. Okay, I'll explain. Uh, in there used to be a problem with people that got their Social Security, they put in a bank account, and then they get garnished, and maybe the money from the bank account would be held up, and maybe the senior didn't realize that they could file what's called a challenge to garnishment or claim of exemption, get the money released. And if they didn't do anything, they'd lose their Social Security. So, and I imagine a lot of seniors were complaining about this. And finally, in 2012, a federal rule went into effect that instructed banks and credit unions that if they got a writ of garnishment, they're to examine your bank account. And if money went into your bank account, direct deposit from a federal source such as Social Security, or if you worked for the federal government or you're a post office employee, a veteran, or a railroad worker, those are all federal retirement, mostly Social Security. The bank is to look at your account and they can determine from a code on the deposit where the money came from. And if it came from Social Security, they're to take that amount you get each month times 2 and automatically protect that sum in your bank account from garnishment, regardless if there's other monies in that account where they came from. It doesn't matter if there's other monies in that account. Okay. So once again, if you got 2,000 in Social Security, 4,000 in your bank account is protected automatically, Larry, from garnishment. And I already told people this. I'm guessing that maybe 999 out of 1,000 attorneys don't know this rules, and I've yet to meet a bank manager yet that understands the rule. But there's a department and bank that deals with garnishments that knows the rule, and they'll follow it. So if you go and ask your bank manager, I heard this guy on the internet say this, bank manager isn't going to know the answer, or they're going to give you the wrong answer. And like I said, there's a lot of attorneys that know, the vast majority of attorneys don't know this rule. And I don't know if even the law professors in law school are teaching this. They're teaching the old rule, which is that if you commingle funds, then that all becomes available. But that's not the case with this rule. So you're right. Some attorneys will say that it's fair game for garnishment because because they're wrong. That's why. They don't know what they're talking about. That's it. We got videos that explain this. We got emails that explain this. You can Google this question. You'll come up with the answer. You can get on Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's website. It'll have the answer. Okay. So what Eastlake says, I'm thankful we found you yesterday on YouTube. After watching your videos, I called and joined. Waking up this morning was the first in a long time I didn't feel terror and fear. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad. That's why we're here, and that's why we'd like you to share what we do with other seniors. Everyone needs to know about that. There's almost a concerted effort out there to keep the information we talk about from seniors. No one talks about it. Dave Ramsey, does he ever talk about it? No. 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 National Council on Aging, do they ever talk about it? No. Well, I may even have an article here that I can show you from them. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay. Look at this. Where am I at? Okay. Well, I got to move this over. So this is an article from the National Council on Aging. They get $50 million from the United States every month, every year, at least. And then they solicit donations, and their mission is to help seniors, especially those that are struggling financially. National Council on Aging, 75 years celebrating a legacy of impact. Okay. I guess I'm kind of their nemesis, I think, in some ways. So here's an article from September of last year. Oh, I guess from 2 years ago. How financial counseling can help with managing debt before retirement. Okay. And what they do, and even seniors that are retired, they refer to Green Path Debt Management. Okay. Which is a nonprofit debt management company who are our experience does not tell seniors that their income is protected when they call in. We get people that call us that have been enrolled with Green Path Financial Protection, and they're put in poverty making payment to a debt they don't have to pay. Why is that? Well, because if Green Path would have told them that their income was protected, they wouldn't have enrolled with it. So why doesn't National Council on Aging tell seniors that their income is protected? Well, because they get donations from these companies. If they told them the truth, they wouldn't get these donations. Yeah, and okay, then there's AARP, American Association of Retired Persons. You know, almost 40 to 45% of seniors are classified as economically vulnerable. They're poor, they're lower income, they're struggling. You know, AARP does lip service to help those seniors. Do they ever have articles in there that tell a senior that what I'm telling you? No. Do they ever do anything? No. I mean, I would love to see these organizations do some lobbying, for example, to stop the set off of 100% of Social Security from some seniors, like started up on March 27th. No, they generally just act in their own financial interest. They do lip service. Okay. Ken still says, I have a repayment plan with an overpayment due to working more than I should from back 5 years ago. I pay $20 a month currently. I still owe $880. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. If that's a overpayment for Social Security or what that is, I'm not sure. I'm glad you like my yellow shirt. Okay, let me get in the right screen here. Okay, this person contacts us from California. And that's what they say. We have 50,000 in credit card debt. We struggle to make payments, and with the with the continuing rise in cost of living, there's no way we can pay this off. Our combined monthly income from Social Security is around $4,500. Rent and utilities is $2,400. I have an annuity that I will receive a yearly payment of around $10,000 in August, and that's only for 25 and 26. After that, it's done. Would appreciate any help and suggestions you could provide to us. Yeah, here's my help and suggestion. You can stop paying the credit card debt. Your Social Security is protected. Your annuity is protected under state law. States have different laws that protect annuities. I'm pretty sure it's a generous one in California. I've never, in 46 years of practice, seen an annuity be taken from anyone. And if you enroll in helps, you're going to give us the creditors you owe money to. They're going to leave you alone. You don't need to worry. The whole purpose of helps, if you have a question, if you're worried or scared, you pick up the phone and you give us a call, no matter how often, because we'll talk to you, explain to you why you're going to be okay. So DJ Wiz says something good about GreenPath. I'm sure GreenPath helps a lot of people. What my problem with GreenPath is, and I know because I've got a long history with GreenPath, they don't tell seniors that their income is protected. Now, if you're young and you're working and have a job and have the money to pay the debt back, that's great. GreenPath can help you. But if you're a senior struggling, the very least they need to do is to tell you that your Social Security is protected, so is your pension. It doesn't need to use to be paid to pay a debt you can't afford to pay. You know, I don't know, must have been 7, 8 years ago, or maybe even longer. I contacted the um, I contacted GreenPath about what they were doing, and their corporate counsel got back to me, and then I started giving him some rationale for what they were doing that was wrong with the um, um, American Associate, or what's the name of it? Anyway, I just got the runaround, and then finally he just stopped communicating with me. And you know, and we still get calls fairly regularly from people signed up with GreenPath, and they're not told that their income is protected. Hold on here. National Council on Aging. They have a kind of a sweetheart relationship with National Council on Aging. And I complained to National Council on Aging about what they were saying about the Green Path. They changed their website a little bit, but then they've got a sweetheart deal. Green Path donates them money, and so they refer cases to Green Path. But yet National Council on Aging that gets $50 million from our government, and their mission is supposedly to help seniors who are struggling financially, They never in their articles, and I've got videos where I've talked about this in detail. They never say anything about the fact that a senior's income is protected. It doesn't need to be used to pay debt. They just steer them to debt management, to GreenPath, or one of these other companies. Never tell them the most basic thing that a senior knows, especially the ones that are struggling financially. Seniors that are having financial problems are not the rich seniors. They're the half of seniors that are lower income or poor, that are economically vulnerable. But instead, National Council on Aging, no, none of their articles are going to tell you that. They don't never say that. I haven't found one yet. Now maybe it's in there somewhere. I can't remember. What kind of company or business is National Council on Aging? If they get donations, what are they doing exactly for seniors? Do they help with needs of life, bills, food, etc.? No. They give, you can get on their website and they have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of videos. The videos get maybe, don't get a lot of views, 25, 50 views or something like that. I mean, you could talk about a lot of things that will help seniors, okay? But, the kind of help that we do is we help seniors that are struggling financially so they can protect their money and use it to live on. So I focus on that. That's what we focus on. National Council on Aging, how to exercise and be healthy, whatever. But it's kind of ironic that their mission statement says that their mission is to protect seniors, especially those that are struggling financially. And that's not what they do. And then I look at their board of directors, and these are really qualified people. I kind of wonder if their board of directors really understand that the corporation they're working for that really does a lot of harm for seniors that are struggling financially by not giving them correct information. Oh, here's one. Since we're on the topic, we do a lot of videos for senior living, and one of them that got over 500,000 views did a couple months ago. Our phones blew up. Oh, incidentally, we are going to do YouTube Live with Senior Living here, probably starting in July. I'll let you know, and I'm going to want your support because this is an experiment for them. But I think it'll be very important because they have a bigger audience than we do. And whenever we do some videos with Senior Living, they get hundreds of thousands of views. Okay, so it's going to be the same format. It's going to be me and Jeff Hoyt. We'll be on the screen together, and then you guys will be asking. Jeff and I will talk about a topic for 5 minutes, and then there's going to be comments, chat, where you're going to ask questions, and then Jeff will read those. I'll answer them, and Jeff and I will talk about them together. But we think this is going to be really important to get the word out on helps. So we'll let you know more about it. And we're going to have it at a time different than obviously what this time is. I told Jeff yesterday some suggested times, and hopefully we can do it twice a week. They may want to only do it once a week. I'm hoping they're going to do it twice a week. I think it's going to be hugely popular for them. So anyway, we did a video with Senior Living, and someone made a comment, kind of snide, so I'll read it to you. If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. This is after I talked with Jeff about how seniors' income is protected and how they don't. And he says, your guest, meaning me, does not really understand this fact. Okay. If a senior or anyone does not pay their debt, they may not be garnished. but they will be prohibited in the future from accessing credit in the future. If anyone will need credit in the future, it is seniors because the resources are limited already, and when they are strapped in the future, it's likely they will have fewer options because of the advice they're getting from this quote expert, me. Well, I could make a lot of comments, but this is what I wrote. This is what I told him. This is what I wrote back this morning. I said, it would be wonderful. And I get these sometimes fairly often. It would be wonderful if everyone could pay their debt and preserve their credit like you suggest. And I said, that is a dream world. If your income is $1,500 in Social Security and you're paying rent of $800 per month, you're left with $700. All that is necessary for utilities, food, medicine, and other basics. Where's the money to continue paying maybe $10,000 or whatever in ongoing credit card? What happens when you're married, your husband dies, you're now a widow, you get his Social Security, your Social Security goes away, and you got all this debt. Sure, you want to preserve your credit? Yeah, if you want to do that and you go without food or medicine or you can't pay the rent, you want to be out. No, you don't have any choice. And then I say, these are the seniors that helps assist. And then I said, this so-called expert is 74, been an attorney for 46 years and helped between 30 and 40,000 persons file bankruptcy and started helps in 2012. Also, seniors who don't pay their debt can restore their credit 700 plus to 700 or more in a matter of 1.5 to 2 years. Helps has a program fee for its clients on how this is done. And we do through Phil Tyrone and 720 credit score. So yeah, if you can afford to pay your debt, we want you to pay your debt. But if it's a matter of food or medicine and paying your debt, that's an easy decision to make. You've got to pay for your food and medicine and your utilities. You can't go without heat. And certain parts of the country, you can't go without air conditioning. You got to have some utilities. Yeah, ARP should do that. The problem is these guys they don't know this law, or they don't know the real world. I'm kind of at an advantage because I've been doing this for almost 50 years now. Um, oh my gosh, Simply Social Morning Law Group wanted me to refinance my house to pay my debt. I don't know the facts, but that could possibly be the worst decision you could ever make. You know, just because you're an attorney doesn't mean that you know everything. I mean, and a lot of attorneys out there, they're not experienced in this field, or they've only been an attorney for a few years, and they don't deal with these debt issues. Oh my gosh. In Morning Law Group, from what I can see, I mean, I'm not saying about it. All you have to do is get on there, look at their reviews, look at the reviews, the 1-star reviews, and write what people write about them. And the people that worked for Litigation Practice Group, a lot of those attorneys went to work for this same company. So when I call helps for info on the Phil Tyrone 720, will he contact me, or you send out an email out for me to fill out something and we go there? Yeah, we send you a link, and then you get on that link, and then you can start it that day, that program. It's kind of a do-it-yourself program, and then he has monthly or bi-monthly telephone sessions when you can call in and ask questions. So the videos with senior living, they're going to be live. We've got lots of videos already with senior living. It'll be live. Oh, Dave Ramsey. I think you're talking about Laura. I mean, some people, you got blinders. You know what those are? On horses. They have blinders on a horse. They put blinders on a horse so they don't get distracted. They just focus on the path. I'm afraid that there's some people that have blinders in their life. They just get focused on, they don't see the big picture. Okay? And it's easy to get in a rut thinking I'm the only one that knows anything about this. And I don't claim to do that. I mean, I tell people all the time, there's other options you have, but you got to look at the big picture. And then you also have to look at the practicalities, the odds of something happening. It doesn't do any good to give people advice that they shouldn't drive because they get hit by a drunk driver going to Circle K at 10 o'clock at night. That if you ever get on the road, you get hit by a drunk driver, therefore don't drive. No. Hmm. Well, is a personal loan from Discover considered credit card debt? It doesn't matter what kind of loan you have, Lily. Uh, your income is protected from a bank loan, payday loan, medical debt, you name it. The only one that could touch your Social Security is IRS could take 15% of your Social Security, but they would give you 60-day notice of intent to do that. Would give you enough time to apply for get on what's called currently not collectible status. And like I said earlier, even student loans now aren't taking offsetting Social Security, and they won't take your pension. I don't see IRS going after people's pensions. They don't do it. So you can call and talk to us. Farmhouse says the creditor stopped calling me after the helps letters went out. I've been getting email from Capital One. I talked to a guy today, uh, and he was upset because he was still getting notices from Capital One. Well, Capital One is an original creditor. The Fair Debt Collection practices apply to debt collectors, not original creditors. So they could still send you a notice. When we send out letters to the credit card companies, our experience is they're not going to call you. They may still keep sending you a bill, but if they're an original creditor, they're not breaking the law. Now, there's a few states where that's an exception. Okay. This person says, I co-signed for my granddaughter's student loan and my Social Security income is only about 800 a month. Am I still liable for the student loan debt? Well, you're probably liable for it, but it doesn't mean you're going to need to pay it. They can't come after your Social Security. Protected. Okay. So we've talked a lot about different things today. I've run out of things that I'd written down. I want to thank you for participating. If you got a question, put it in before we go. Um, we're going to be back on. Today's the last day. Today's Thursday. We're going to do YouTube Live next week from Monday through Thursday, same time. Um, if I haven't answered your questions or if you have questions about your situation, be sure and call us toll free 855-435-7787. 855-435-7787 or 855 helps us or helps US. Okay. Um, thanks for putting the picture back up. I did. Um, have a great day, and I will talk to you guys on Monday. God bless.